Hi. Welcome to the 5th episode of The Anatomy of BL. Hey.
Yeah. I'm Tops, aka
Peanut. I am Gums, aka Dandelion of Peanut Dandelion. And today we're talking about our actiony BLs. So the ones that are intended to have like action scenes are supposed to be taken seriously.
yeah, it's more plot character based. Like there's a story we're trying to follow along here. It's supposed to be mysterious. That's what the category is about.
Yeah. Last week we didn't have an episode because life be lifing. Life be lifing. So, if you're still hanging in with us trying to rank all 91 of the BLs that we've watched so far, good on you, I guess. Thanks. We're back.
By the way, do you have I don't expect you to count now, but do you know how many we've ranked thus far?
How many we've ranked thus far? 19 plus 25. We ranked 25 so far.
25 of the 91. Wow. Okay.
Well,
I haven't made quite a dent at it.
Okay, so starting off today's batch, group, whatever you want to call it, category, is manner of death.
So, manner of death. I have I don't love hate. It's not love-hate relationship.
Synopsis first.
Oh, right.
We've been away for a week and already we're messing up. Imagine. Okay, I'll just read it. Dr. Bunakit, I think that's how you say it, is a medical examiner based at a provincial hospital. One day after carrying out an autopsy on the body of a woman who had seemingly hanged herself, Dr. Bunakit rules out suicide, as his findings point to homicide. His conclusion suddenly makes him the target of someone very powerful. When an anonymous man breaks into his house and threatens him to change his report to suicide, Dr. Bunakit doesn't take this threat seriously. But all that changes when one of his friends, a prosecutor, suddenly disappears. Dr. Bunakit quietly conducts his own investigation in order to get at the truth. All clues lead to one suspect, a man named Tan, who denies any involvement. Tan convinces Dr. Bunakit to team up together in order to find the real murderer. There you go.
Quite an interesting synopsis. It's one of those. I like plot-based dramas. I get to sink my teeth into it. So when we read this for the first time, I was like, oh, this was very interesting. Especially because these two actors that act in this, Max and Do, their previous dramas were more character-based than plot-based. So I was interested to see.
Not just that, but it was also, I think for me, because I was a pretty big fan of Max and Dean already as a pair. Because they kind of are representative of a very unique couple within BL that we don't really see much. Where it's they're more of an equal footing. There's no obvious this one's a total bottom, this one's a total top, right? It's both these beefy, meaty, looking men.
Yeah.
So for me, I was already a fan of them. And then they the last thing they did prior to this, I think, was Just Together With Me too.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, they're coming back. And I know they have insane chemistry. So I was
insane chemistry, they're also amazing
exactly.
actors. So I was like, oh my gosh,
I was already really hyped. And then I read the synopsis and I'm like, oh, dope.
Yeah, literally adult history. Yeah,
especially at the time, I don't think we really had a lot of BLs that delved into that side. At the time, it was literally just school. If it was a high school university,
it was the same formula over
and over again. So
especially in Thailand.
Exactly.
This is, I was like, okay, interesting. We're going a different route.
I was like, okay, finally we have adults with actual jobs. And it's a mystery. It's a murder mystery nonetheless.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. This is so new. So I was hyped.
I had high expectations.
Bro.
I think out of all the dramas that we come, out of all the, at the time of release. Yeah, at the time of release, out of all the dramas, I was most hyped for this because my expectations were really high. I was like, no, these two are very good actors. Chemistry off the charts.
I was like, they're not gonna fall short.
Yeah.
Right? And then we get actually started watching the drama.
It's bad. It's just it's, in defense of the drama, it is because of our high expectations that it does.
I was not exactly. I was more disappointed because of what I expected for it to be, more than I was disappointed because of what it gave me.
Right. Another thing that added to the disappointment is I could see what they were trying to do. I was like, okay,
exactly
what you're trying to do, but like your execution is just a little bit off. Like if you just did the opposite of what you did, a lot of stuff. If you did that, if you just chose the other option, I think this could have
worked a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the premise that threw me off.
No, not at all.
And it wasn't even the decisions of like most of the characters, or rather the way that things played out. It was actually like the decisions as things that were playing out that threw me for a loop sometimes.
Why this?
Especially because of the fact that they kind of were presenting, like the show worked hard to present both Tan and like Dr. Boone or Ban or whatever it is as very intelligent characters. They like tried their best to present it as if, these characters are supposed to be cunning, smooth, intelligent, attractive.
Yeah.
They have all these factors working for them, right? But like they were making stupid decisions.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
it's so out of character for you to do this. Like,
bro,
like I don't expect you to make this like critical thinking here. Like, why did you make this choice?
Why did you make this choice? Because they're getting into like actual like plot points, right? In the beginning, the person that got murdered was actually like one of Boone's friend's sister. I think he also was like friends with her as well, like Jane, right? Her name's Jane. So Jane got murdered at this party. The sister's devastated. So he's like, okay, no, I have to like help out because like this is something like something shady's going on.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Like y'all are saying it's a suicide,
exactly.
But like, because he's a doctor, like my diagnosis is
it's not.
Like it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
She killed herself this way, you know.
Like the evidence doesn't necessarily align.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, no. Because I'm being silenced and I'm being pressured by like prosecutors and people who are above me in terms of like the law, I'm gonna
like people at my own hospital like, no, fuck, like close the case.
Exactly. It's a suicide. Let it go.
No, but so obviously not. And it's
exactly.
Like,
so he's like, nah. Like I'm going into like social justice mode
and the cover
type situation. And the first thing that he does is like publicize it, basically, like make it public that no, she didn't actually commit suicide. That's when like Tan starts coming into play, and like Tan is kind of initially was presented with Tan as like, but is he like responsible?
Very sus character. He comes in very sus because off the jump, like even when they discovered Jane's body the very next morning after she quote unquote committed suicide, Tan was there being like asked questions by the police.
Exactly.
Like, why are you?
Exactly.
Like last time I saw you was the previous night, and there was a situation.
She walked away with you. Like Jane walked away with you. So like what happened? What happened between then and like her dying?
Why is she back at this place? And she like it's like it's very questionable. So like it's very understandable. Even like obviously as the audience and we were all like, he looks shady.
He looks nice.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So, as like, I'm gonna skip a lot because there's a lot of like anime that goes on in this thing. It's a lot of different like red herrings. So, as like the story progresses, these two are investigating. They're going on like their own thing. They're not going with the law. There's this one cop who's actually trying to find out what's happening, but they're kind of working against him. Because the inspector, they're not sure if he's working with the people who are trying to cover it up or not, so they don't necessarily trust him. And he believes in the law.
Yeah, he does, but he also was acting sus. And like, a lot of these characters were sus. You didn't know who to trust.
Exactly.
But everyone was doing something weird. Was like, are you actually investigating?
Exactly.
Like what's going on?
What's going on? Like y'all passing things in the back door. Like what is happening? What are you doing?
I see you whispering to people as well.
Exactly. Like, what are you doing? This is so sus. So eventually, at some point, we even get to we hit this plot point where Boone and Tan basically fake their deaths, right?
Well, we were already there.
I skipped a lot. What else do you want to talk about? Fair enough.
fair enough. They're investigating the thing.
Exactly.
They get closer over time.
They get closer all the time because they're like running away into like these sheds and like
because in the beginning, I mean, like they were both maybe more on Boone's side than Tan's side, but they were not trusting each other. Each of them had like a little bit of
motivation where it was like,
like this could be you. And throughout this drama, we see them slowly but surely like come to like, oh, I'm starting to trust you. Even though there were times where, like, for example, Boone found Tan's gun, and I think at this point he didn't know that Tan was like a gangster because he's
a part of the mafia.
He's part of the mafia. That's another part of it. But like, so when he found his gun, he was like, oh, this is shady. That I didn't know that you were actually doing these dealings here and whatnot. I think he worked at this. I don't know if he worked at the school or what, but he worked with Jane.
He did.
He was a teacher in school, so I don't know what his actual job was. But it's like, so why is this person who's supposed to be a teacher, quote unquote, out here with guns? So like, those are the both things that were happening. Like I've said, little red herrings in between everything. So to get to the point where they like, okay, we're gonna fake our death. It took a lot for them to get to the point. Like, I trust you.
I trust you now. Yeah, like I trust you now. They're gonna do this. But like the part that like really pissed me off about that plot point, was when they immediately after faking their death revealed that they were alive to the person that they were investigating. I was like, y'all had an upper hand.
They were all over town, and it's not even just. It's not even just the person they investigated. Like, they were barely hiding. They were in the hospital. I mean, everyone knew that they were there. That's why, like, and they got away. Yeah. But like, the bad guys already assumed that they're at the hospital. Yeah. Jane fucking told Jane's sister.
Yeah.
If they're at their life at the hospital. I was so annoyed at that because it was like, did you just throw in that we're gonna fake our dead to make the show more interesting?
Yeah, that's what they did. But it feels like that plot point was very unnecessary. Because honestly, man, the only way that I would have personally accepted that they played it right would have been if maybe the enemy attacks them, right? While they're still in their hideout, like faking they did, right? Or investigating something. And then that's their first hint that, oh, there must be an insider who's working with these people.
That's what I'm saying.
Them revealing to, spoiler alert, Jane's sister not to be trusted.
Yes, right. Bad guy.
She's the bad guy. So this entire time we were working under the assumption that she's just a grieving sister. There was no indication that she was a part of this, right? Yeah. And she would play her role really fucking well.
Amazing.
So my thing is, if we all went to the extent of faking your death, right? If y'all wanted to play this in a way that was very, very interesting, it could have been a situation where it's like, okay, Shop, you revealed yourselves that, okay, we're still alive to Jane's sister, right?
Yeah.
But somehow the bad guys find out and they catch you up. Exactly. That's when now we're going to be like, okay, so who of the people that these two trust is working with those people?
Exactly. They sent too many people.
Exactly.
They went and told the judge that they still alive. He's also a bad guy. Let me tell you, all the main people in town, the head prosecutor, the judge, all the chief of police, the head of the hospital, every top dog you can think of, they're all bad guys.
Yeah.
So they went and told the judge because they thought he was on their side. Inspector M, they went and told their friends at the fucking hospital.
Exactly.
They went and told Jane's sister. And then they were also running around town doing their own investigations. And it's like, that were two giant men.
Yeah.
Because that's why people keep finding it. Like this, I think they lost it a day and a half. With their whole faking the dead thing.
That's why I was like, honestly, that was a perfect opportunity because I can see why.
Even before the faking the death, remember when Tan did the whole like, okay, I'm gonna fix everything myself. I'm gonna deal with it. So, oh my god. So basically, they're a team now. Fine and Tan are a team. We're in this together. We're gonna solve this, whatever. But Tan was like, no, I don't want to put him in danger. Like, if I take him with me, he might die. So I'm gonna do this whole thing where, like, I'm gonna pretend to seduce him and whatnot. Yeah. Because they're together at this point. Like, they're in a couple.
They're a couple.
Almost choked. Okay, together. Okay, it didn't happen. They're together. They're a couple, and like he's doing this whole seducing thing. Then cups into the railing of like the staircase or whatever. The
staircase railing.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay, I'm so sorry, but like, I have to do this for us. I have to pretend. And then he runs away, leaving Pan there on the floor. And here's my biggest gripe with the right. If Tan went where he went and actually died, because he was going there with the assumption that some man might die. That's why I'm keeping Pan away.
Yeah.
Because we might die. So I'm gonna sacrifice myself instead. And I'm sorry. what about beeping territory? Like, in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows his name. He left him stranded there alone. No food, no water, no food, no even a bucket. Like, if you need to pee, here's a bucket. Like, he's literally just there by the railing.
He should have at least given him a phone. Like, call somebody.
He gave him nothing. I'm breaking up with you when you come back.
When looked at him and was like, he's still alone. I'm like, fuck you, no.
If you're gonna do a sacrificial shit, at least give me resources around me. I'm so dehydrated. You were gone for hours.
He will literally delay that. And you know the worst one was, right? And then like the worst one was the fact that at the end, the solution for him to even get himself out, it was doable. He actually got himself up before 10 came back.
That's what I'm saying.
So it's like, okay, so all of that was for dramatic effect.
These things that they do that just seems for like, the whole like faking their dead.
It just seems like for just red herrings and dramatic effect.
Like adding up. Like if you didn't do this thing, the thing would have been the same.
Exactly.
Like, whether you stayed you're dead or not, the thing would have stayed the same.
Because you did nothing. Stayed the same.
Those are questionable decisions. Like it was like that was questionable.
Honestly,
that was questionable.
But like, the main, honestly, right? Outside of that, the main storyline, I feel like it was done really well.
Yeah. Outside of those little things that they did, the meat of the story.
The meat of the story was incredible. Juicy. It was really juicy. Like, if you can get over like these small things that they keep doing, where it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right. I promise you, it's incredible. Like, if you haven't even like watch, like, because we walked in completely blind. Like, we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know who the bad guy was. We were trying to investigate as we were investigating.
Mystery.
It was a flippin' good mystery.
Yeah, because we were also trying, like, obviously, like God said, we were investigating as they were investigating. I was not suspecting. I mean, in the beginning, I was a little confused why. Like, remember when the morning after they discovered Jane's body? And Jane's sister was there, still wearing the same gown from.
Yeah. That's the part that confused me.
In my mind, I was like, dude, why didn't you change? I didn't think of it as suspicious.
Exactly.
But it's bizarre that she.
I think it's bizarre. Maybe
everyone else is fine.
Exactly.
Already. Like I was just so confused by her. You look like a whole night has gone by. You look so disheveled in the same dress. What happened here? Did you not go home?
Exactly.
But I didn't think she was the suspect.
I just thought it was.
I just thought I don't know what you're doing, Jay.
Because I was thinking, oh, is this like? Because sometimes with Thai dramas, this does happen, where it's like, oh, sometimes the wardrobe department did into something, or maybe they just shot the scene and they were like, okay, might as well just shoot this one. We don't have time for you to change, like shooting schedule or something,
exactly.
Right? That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like making up excuses for it. Then to know, it's actually the first indication to show that she's the one who killed her sister.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. It was good.
The thing that made us like completely like, I think like you see that in her in the dressing, you know what the fuck. But her acting, incredible. She covered everything off. Like you forget
she was dying.
Man, this person is distraught. This is dead. Like throughout the whole drama, there was no point where, because they didn't do a goofy thing where they like at some point hand over to Jane and she was smack.
Exactly.
I would have hated that. Like
I'm glad that they didn't do that.
And like
they actually done really well. Like,
you wouldn't have mystery of like at all. You didn't. You only suspect her like towards the end where like you also start to think of things like, but how did they find out that these two fake their dead? How did like it's when you're now piecing, you're like, could it be Jane's sister?
Could it be Jane's sister?
But you're like, what does she have to gain? Like there's some things like that. And it's like, okay, because right now they're painting this whole picture. As the thing is going along, you're getting like pieces. You're like, oh, there's the sex trafficking ring going on.
There's a kid who's coming to school drugged out. Like she's clearly going with mysterious cars.
People are like, girls are turning at dead with like injection marks on their arms.
Some of them are pregnant.
And you're like, what is going on? Like, there's those little things. So you have an idea that there's those like sex trafficking, child gross thing going on in town. But you're like, but what would Jane's sister's link and Jane herself? What would they be the Jane? This whole thing, you're like, okay, but like, how does it all connect? And like, that's the interesting part of it. And you're trying to discover like, how does it all connect? So Jane had a boyfriend, fiance. I think they were going to get married. Yeah, fiance. He was, I don't know.
He was infatuated by Jane. And then I think
initially he was dating Jane's sister.
Yeah,
And
initially.
then,
And then he got attracted to Jane, started a relationship with her. And then whilst they were together, one of the top people or something said that if you like give me a night with her, right, I will promote you, essentially. And so he sacrificed the love of his life, supposedly, quote unquote.
She loves the man. She loves the man. Now, because it was also some gaslighting, not gaslighting, but
Manipulation on his part.
Yeah, and the sister, because like both Jane's sister and the boyfriend were like, come on, just do it. Right?
Just do it.
Because Jane's sister, like, I don't know why, okay, whatever. She's also involved with this whole thing. She gets the girls with these people. So when the guy, who's the top dog, also said, I want your sister, it was like, he was attracted. She was like, okay, cool. And both Jane's sister and Jane's fiance were heavily emotionally manipulating her to do this, because it's like, come on, like, we family, don't let us down, this could help us a lot and whatnot. And actually Jane reluctantly was, I'll just do it, it's cool, fine, I'll do it. And she did. And
she's traumatized.
She's traumatized by it. She actually fell pregnant. And she had like an illegal abortion because of it. Yeah, her boyfriend was there, her fiance was there with her, and like, okay, yeah, let's just handle this nonsense and all that. Like, unfortunately, she had shit people around her. And then, like, her breaking point, like we said, she was a teacher at the school. Her breaking point reached when she noticed that her student was actually also
getting involved.
Yeah, because she started noticing that, like, here's a student who's like weak, tired, like she looks pale, like what's going on with her? And then she noticed the marks on her arms, and she said, no, this looks very familiar to me. As a person who was in that room, I can, like, you know, I can see that there's something off here. And when she finds out that, oh, like, that this is actually happening to the student, she's like, no, fuck this. So she's way out of hand. Like, it's one thing to do to me, a consenting adult, even though
it's not really consenting.
It's not consenting if you're manipulating into doing something like that. But, like, she's like, okay, I'm an adult that was,
I can handle myself, but not my student.
Not my student, underage students going through this. Like, what the fuck? And so she tells her sister and her, well, she essentially tells everyone, she announces it, that she's like, I'm going to expose all you. She got like video evidence of it, and she was like, I have evidence, I'm going to expose every single one of you. Yeah, you guys are vile.
Because you guys are just evil, vile. I don't like it. I don't like the fact that you have my kids involved. I'm going to expose all of y'all. And that's when her sister decided, okay, as much as I love her, she needs to go.
Yeah. Okay, sister killed her and made it appear as a suicide, and, like, then acted the hell out of the role and pretended like she was distraught and traumatized by just her sister's dead body and all that stuff.
I mean, she was the one who killed her.
Wow, she's so messed up. It was so messed up. There was a lot going on in this. Like, there's a lot of other plot points. Like, we have like Tan and his brother's whole thing, which is a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, because even the fiance is related to Tan and his mafia boss brother.
Yeah.
So he was actually the third brother, and the mafia boss brother was blaming Tan because he thought that, like, the brother at some point died, right? And he blamed
Jane killed Jane's sister.
Yeah.
Jane's sister not only killed her sister,
but she also went and killed the fiance.
Because the fiance at some point started feeling guilty. He was like, fuck, what have I done? I already coerced fiance to do the thing. And on top of that, she gets killed for, like, acting like shit, and I think I'm gonna confess and whatnot. And
she was like, nah.
She was like, no, I already killed my sister, I'm not letting you. Like I really did so fucking much to keep the secret. I'm killing you too.
Yeah.
And she did whatever.
Exactly. But then he thought that because Tan technically doesn't share a mother with them, he was kind of like the side pieces kind of son, in a way. So he was like the bastard kid of the brothers, right? So he already was like, oh, you must have been so jealous, like you killed my brother to punish me or whatever. So he was already suspecting him. So he thought, like,
if I'm to be honest, that his suspicions were kind of dumb. It was clearly, like, motivated largely by
his hatred for him.
Anyway. It was like, no, like,
it was prejudice.
Yeah, it was completely prejudice. But yeah, that was a whole other plot point. Essentially, okay, so as a plot, like we've mentioned, everything was really well done. The mystery element, I think it was executed quite well. Like, yeah, you're really in there. You're really trying to figure out this investigation. Yeah, you're into the story. It was only those little goofy things, but also then it's like more like honestly, I was laughing at those things. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, it was funny. Like, that's the tension element. What did you mean?
But also because this is a BL to discuss the actual couple themselves, the main couple in this, which is
Tan and
Boon. Lovely. I like
off the shots.
They were like, I guess they were not enemies, but it's kind of enemies to lovers vibes.
It was,
they weren't enemies, but it was like, I don't trust you.
It's like suspicious people against each other.
Yeah,
two lovers.
Like, it's
like a slow burn. Max and Dune never disappoint.
They never did. Their chemistry really is off the charts. Like, from the first time they met each other, like, and
you could feel it.
You could feel the attraction. Like, you could see they were looking at each other and thinking, wow, that person's attractive.
And then there was this also the whole thing of the fact that with Tan, that wasn't actually technically the first time we saw Boone, right? Like, the first time we saw him, it was in university.
As usual.
Of course, my God.
First time you're never meeting someone who's with parents. Yeah, didn't see them in high school or whatever. You couldn't just do that. You find it out, but whatever.
So he was just like, it's the first time you thought he was in university. You found him really attractive, but didn't really have the guts to approach him. And yeah, it's a whole thing. The only thing that I would say is fucking goofy, the way that he proposed to different
dude, like
that whole thing of like the forest thing, and somebody got kidnapped. I felt like that scene was so unnecessary.
It was too much. And I was like, come on, dude, like, please. Like, I cannot, after we went through so much trauma, lying, being okay,
I need murder scenes,
not this, not the, oh my God.
Exactly. I need cuteness. Leave us on a cute note,
please.
But like they said themselves at the end, like, it's like, no, but this is the type of couple we are. And I'm like, okay, fine, you made your point. But that does, like, I want to punch you now.
But they were cute as fuck. They were in the show off the charts. I like their development of actually how they began to, like, slowly trust each other, slowly get intimate. Slowly.
Now, but
yeah. And it was zero time. It was like flirting, and it was like them flirting, but like, it's like.
And then immediately the first time they kissed, they fucked.
I don't know how you're holding back this entire
bro. I was like, okay, you're an adult.
Adult. You're consenting adult. What
exactly.
Can I say? That being said, we need to let's rank her.
Let's rank. I think we've been talking about her for quite a while.
I like for her superior. I think that's a superior.
Superior?
There's very little I would change about her.
But then that makes her very good. Because those are things that we would actually take.
No, there are things like, there are things I would, there are, I just love the cover, but
so the thing is, right? Okay, fine. Let me try to make your argument for you, right?
Okay.
I'm making your argument for superior.
Okay.
Right?
Lovely.
So the thing is, there are things that would be changed, but taking into context, not only the main story and what it was intending to do, but the editing, the acting, and the fact that, like, the way that the story was structured in itself, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Nothing was done unintentionally.
Yes.
In it, right? So even if we would change certain things, I think those things that we would change are more annoyances that you and I have with it.
Yeah, other people might not mind at all.
Not even might not. There are people who literally call this the perfect drama.
Sure.
I've seen it on, like, online forums and stuff. People, whenever they discuss Man of Death, they're like, that's like one of the best shows out there currently. Like, there are people who literally would not change a thing, but I look at certain things and I'm like, that was a fucking stupid decision.
It was a stupid decision. But, like, in my mind, what I'm thinking of with superior is that whether I change that stupid decision or not, it's not going to change the overall story.
It doesn't change the course of the story.
The story still goes on. It's just that, why did you have to do that? Either way, the story would still be the same. That's why I won't put it in very good. I put it in superior. But it's not that it be is plus super superior.
Never.
No, I'm sorry. That was a little, come on.
There were a lot of goofy things. I was like, I remember the first time, like, I watched it with you.
Yeah.
There were literally multiple voices that I sent to you.
You and I was together. I remember.
And we
were like, I think that was one of the few dramas where we were, like, going at the same pace.
We were like, I'm not going to go too far ahead. Like, if I'm going ahead of you, I'm going by one episode.
Exactly. We were texting it when like, Alison, I'm eating now. Like, I'm sure. Because there was a lot going there. Like, So I think is superior. It's a superior drama.
Okay, superior it is. Next one we have the sequel, which is Triage. The somewhat sequel.
It's
in the same universe, but it's not focusing on the same characters.
They have a cameo in this.
Basically,
a couple of minutes or something. But it's not
their drama.
I'll read the synopsis.
Okay.
So, a third-year emergency medicine resident Tin has to cope with the deluge? What is this word?
Has to cope with the deluge.
Okay, wrong. The deluge of different patients every day. Up until the 18th, that is. Tim's life is transformed when a university student, Dole's car is overturned and he's rushed to the emergency room in serious condition.
Mm-hmm.
That night doesn't end when Tim fails to save Dole's life though. When Tim next wakes, he finds himself in a time loop, a loop he won't be able to leave until he alters Dole's fate.
Mm-hmm. I'll start this off by making my feelings about it very obvious.
Okay.
This is an underrated masterpiece. I need more people to watch it. I don't understand how I haven't seen as much buzz for Triage as I saw with Manner of Death or anything like that we're going to talk about today. But my God, it's so underrated.
I agree. It's very surprising how little people have watched it or know anything about it. It's insane.
It's actually insane. Okay, starting off from the beginning, right, with the entirety of the plot. So we see this doctor. He's kind of his emotions are all they're in
zombie-like.
He's zombie-like, right? He doesn't actually have Dr. Dean, right? He doesn't actually even have any emotional connection with. He's an ER doctor, but he doesn't feel guilt when people die. He doesn't feel sorry. He's
steady there with anyone, even with his colleagues. It's clear that he's I'm just here to do my job and I'm done.
Even if somebody dies in the process of me doing something, I did what I had to do.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Deaths don't really get to him anymore, right? And as he's going through this, who's that character, man? He's my favorite character. He's kind of guided by this guardian angel type character.
Well, to start off, to give also I wanted a little hint to his backstory.
Yeah.
So this, as in the synopsis says, on this particular day, the 18th, a university student comes in by the name of Tor, and he was in a car accident. And so at this point in time, he has the choice of has to revive one of the two people because it was a car accident. So there's two people in critical condition. Dole, the one guy, and the other guy who was in the, a motorbike in a car, radio kid, the other person
who was injured.
And he's in between these two people and has to decide who he's going to save. He's told by someone that, save Dole because he's someone important to the hospital. Someone is save him, he's a priority. But when he goes to smell Dole's clothes,
he smells like alcohol.
He smells alcohol and he's fuck that, no. And that's
he doesn't
deserve to live. And that's our first hint of okay,
what's going on?
What does that mean? So it goes to save the other guy and then Dole dies. Both the people.
They both end up dying.
They both end up dying. He's pretty indifferent to it. He's okay, cool. They both did. He gets shouted at by his boss, being why the fuck did you go try and save the other guy? There was no hope for him anyway. You should have saved so-and-so's son. Then it's just
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. He's dead anyways. It's whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So
he's done with that. He's okay, I'm gonna go to sleep. I've been working a long shift. Closes his eyes, goes to sleep, wakes up. And
the same day all over again.
Exactly as it played out in the beginning. How he was woken up, how the Dole and this person rushed into the emergency room. It's been a car accident. One smells like alcohol. The other one is this. And the first time this happens, he's very what the fuck? He's very confused.
Am I
dreaming?
Exactly. He's thinking, oh, maybe I'm just going through something. I'll just deja vu. Maybe I'll just talk to a psychiatrist later. He doesn't take it that seriously.
Yeah.
Until it happens over and over and over and over again. And he's no, wait a minute. What is going on? He's
am I trapped in a loop? And then he's questioning it. He's very confused. And that's when we get the first appearance of his
Jinta.
Jinta, his quote unquote God angel. And like he appears, amazing character, like our favorite.
I love it.
Our favorite character, yeah, he's I'm picking him into
if there's any character who's like a hill I'm willing to die on, it's Jinta.
But he appears as this godlike angel, and he explains to him that you are trapped in this like continuous loop.
Yeah.
And the objective is that you have to save this kid. Like you have to save this kid. And what's his face is like, why do I have to save this kid? Like it's not very clear. Knows it will be more clear in the future.
The further that you go,
it will make more sense why you have to save this kid. And he's like pretty annoyed by it. I mean, he's like, I haven't slept. Like I keep waking up and having to save this stupid kid.
Exactly.
And he's trying different things. He's tried just about everything to save this kid. But there's always something, and he can't figure out. What is this that is like? I tried everything. I say immediately when the
clock strikes. I think it's midnight or 10 o'clock.
It's a certain time.
A certain time. I don't think
he dies. He dies, and he's like, I don't know what's going on. So he concocts his first plan to be like, you know what, big brain move. I'm going to try. Actually, his first plan is like, fuck it, I'm not gonna sleep then. I'm just gonna stay awake and see what happens. Like if I stay awake, then I won't sleep and I won't go back into the loop. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna just chug all these cold drinks and all that stuff. I'm not gonna sleep. But instead of him, he ends up passing out anyway. Because he's tired. But instead of him, like it all being fine, he just wakes up further in the day. Like so further back in the same day. So instead of waking up like 10 minutes before Dool's body is rushed into the hospital, he's now like in the middle of the day, or like it's like in the morning. And when he first wakes up, he's like, shit, okay, great. The day has ended.
Until he realizes that certain things are happening the same way that they happened earlier in the same day. And he's like, fuck.
Further in. But then once he realizes, okay, I can't break out of this loop, he's like, okay, plan A is instead of trying to save him once the car accident happens, I'm gonna save him before the car accident.
Try and get to know him more.
Yeah, let me. It wasn't even trying to get him. Like, that was not his.
That's true.
He was down.
He was just like, okay, I'm gonna prevent the car accident from happening, essentially by like stopping the events that lead up to it. At first, he tried. Okay, I'm gonna tell him. What? That was stupid because who's gonna believe you?
And it wasn't even that. He just walked up to him and was like, listen, dude,
you're gonna get into an accident.
No, not even you're gonna get into an accident. You're gonna die today.
Exactly.
It was the most threatening. Like, I would be like, what the fuck?
He only punched him, I think.
I think you did because it came off in a very like
menacing way.
Threatening way. Like coming up to me and being like, listen to me, you're gonna die today.
Like, what do you mean?
You're not joking me. You're actually joking me. What
do you mean?
Anyway, so his plan obviously doesn't work. He gets punched, like he's treated like a weirdo because basically his first plans were badly executed. Like he just kept trying to tell him that you're gonna die, don't go to this party, all this stuff.
Yeah.
Why would I listen to you, right?
That be fucking stranger.
Like, and then that's when actually a person at the hospital gives him this epiphany. Like he's like, because he asked somebody, like, if someone told you you're gonna die today, like,
how would you react?
And the person was like, I think they're fucking crazy. Like,
I think they're crazy. I just walk away.
Yeah, walk away. And he was like, okay,
maybe my approach is wrong. And then he's like, okay, fine. Let me try something else. Maybe try to get more into his life. Which at first he's like this character is quite a difficult character. What is his name again? Don. That is quite a difficult character anyway. So even if he's like a snobby rich kid, he's a snobby rich kid. Doesn't really trust anybody. He has his reasons for not trusting people, right? Which you'll get into. But like, he's not really trusting. So as he's trying to like force his way into this kid's life, like he's being
forcing the operative word.
Exactly. Like he's like being met with a lot of resistance. And then he ends up figuring out ways to sort of manipulate his way into his life. At some point, he even figures out that, I've known him from childhood, actually. I just don't remember him.
Yeah.
Right? So, as he's, like, trying to get to know him more, the first time he gets into his life, it's like, and it's friendly and it's fine and whatever. He messes it up by, at the end, telling him again, you're gonna
have money. Like, I understand the concept of that he doesn't have like enough time.
Exactly.
Like because at some point he does go back like a week in advance. He's like, okay, now I have a week. But the problem is that this person has only known you a week. They need to come up with a different approach other than saying to a person, you're going to die.
Exactly.
Why would they believe you? You just like, I still just met you. You sound like a psycho. The only reason that Doll was willing to not think of him so much as a stranger was because of that fact that they knew each other in their childhood. And it's like, okay, I guess I know you. My parents know you. You're not so weird anymore. But it was like thing that I just so embarrassing.
It's just like the amount of secondhand embarrassment that I had watching Dean acting out in this drama, I can't even begin to describe it. There's so many
You
things.
are grown, man.
Bro.
Like at minimum is like late 20s.
Yeah.
He's a third young medical resident. Not the student anymore. He finished the 7 years.
He's an actual doctor.
He's a doctor, like, you old, grown as hell, and so like, I was like, interesting choices he made. But nonetheless, obviously, as he's trying to, another interesting thing is that the more he keeps looping, like he keeps looping back, like something dies a lot of Don dies a lot of times, and he dies quite frequently. So there's a lot of loops, but almost as if like Doll himself is also affected by these loops. He has like these not memories, but feelings that are attached to memories he can't remember. Like there's like, it's almost as if his subconscious knows that I know this person.
He's familiar.
Yeah, he's familiar. I know this person. There's somewhat of a bond that we have together. To me, he's a stranger right now because I just met him. But like there's some familial bond that has been, because of those things, like as the story, I like that element. As the story is progressing, they are getting closer, but it doesn't seem inorganic anymore. It doesn't seem like two strangers randomly like just getting close. It's like, no, I understand, but because of these loops, he subconsciously is very familiar with this guy. So it's not like a stranger just saying, I like this guy. Makes sense.
It's something that builds over time, and as the loops go further, the more he's like, okay, he feels more like home. Why does he feel like home? I don't know why I like this person. I have fun feelings for him. I just met him. This is weird. Like it's like as it progresses, the more that we find out more about Doll, the more we find out more about Dean as well.
And what? Because also remember, we have as like Dean having this overarching question of why is this loop happening and why is it specifically Doll that I have to save? We also have the same question, because like throughout this whole thing, I'm also trying to figure out like, what is the punishment here?
Yeah,
what is going on?
What is going
on? What ties these two together other than them being childhood friends?
Exactly.
Because when you find out they're childhood friends, you're like, okay, cool. But why they both stuck in those?
Exactly.
Like there has to be like,
because they were childhood friends, and I think he also saved his life.
Yeah, when he was
a kid. So it was a thing where it's just like, okay, but like question mark. Why is he being delivered such a harsh punishment? Because that was fucking harsh. It's so emotionally draining.
Because, like I said, as Din gets also, because as he's getting closer to Doll, like to Doll it might be to Doll it might be like a day or week or whatever. But for Din now it's months,
and now
he's finding these
this
person. So every time he dies, it's now even
starting to hit him. Yeah, it's starting to hit him.
The love of his life keeps dying. It's no longer just this kid from university that I have to save. It's a person that I'm falling in love with that keeps dying. Yeah, I don't know how to save him. I'm so desperate. I didn't even know why this is happening.
Exactly.
Like, why him? Like, I don't understand.
Exactly.
So another thing that we learn with the loops that go on is like little pieces of their story that kind of tie into like why is it these two.
So, with Don's side, it's more of like the reason why he was stuck in the loop in the first place, his purpose was kind of to save Dean in a way, right? So Don is in like this relationship with this girl who he wasn't aware that he was being predatory, but it was kind of predatory because she was with him in order for her mom to be saved and whatever, right?
Essentially, she was using like her plan was that okay, so they're poor family. Unfortunately, her mom's sick. She already has a boyfriend, but then she's like, "Fuck, I need to find a way to save my mom." Kind of get it. It's a shit.
I would have done the same thing.
It's a shit thing to do, but like, I would have done
the same
of desperation of saving my mom. This guy really likes me. I just had to be his girlfriend, and he'll help me out.
I personally would have done the same thing.
I love my mom. I'm sorry.
I love my mom way too much. I would have done the same thing.
She dates him, and honestly, as we go, like from the very beginning, from the jump, when we meet the couple, we like.
Something's off. I remember thinking the first time I watched it, I remember thinking, oh, are the directors doing this so that we never even get a chance to ship?
I also thought.
I was like, are you guys just like seriously playing into this entire thing of like, oh, they're not even a real couple or whatever, like what's happening?
Yeah.
Time to know there's actually a whole plot going on.
And
like,
that she's not in love with him.
Yeah.
And she just needs him for the
exactly.
money. And like he's also just in the shit.
He kind of was just using her as a status symbol at some point.
Exactly. Both of them were using each other for various reasons. He did care for her and she did care for him.
But it was not romantic.
Yeah,
it was not a romantic thing.
Yeah. So what you call this? So Dr. Din's thing is to kind of save Du from that. Like, okay, there's a whole thing actually, like it's a chain of events. Like, I brought the story actually. I don't know how much I like it. And everything on the flip side, Du, which we now find out when, like, okay, so at some point, Din gets shot. Yes, Din gets shot, and Du is like, in the last loop that Din has with Don, he ends up sacrificing his life, saving Don. Yeah.
Right? So he dies. Don, because he has, like, at some point he started remembering all the loops, every single, like, thing that
but also Din himself told all about it at some point.
That's true,
He was like, okay, I had this notebook. Showed him his notebook with all
Yeah,
this
yeah,
notes.
yeah.
Like, this is what's been happening. I kept seeing this guy called Jinta. He's the one who told me that I have to do this. Because it got to a point where they trusted you. He was like, I know this is going to sound crazy. I know it's going to sound bizarre, but like,
it's not for no reason that you find such a strong attraction towards me.
Because it still was also like, I don't know why.
Yeah, but I just feel really bonded towards you.
And he was like,
So he was like, okay, it's not for no reason. This is what's actually happening. So, he loses his life, and Don is like, I can't go on. Like, that was the love of my life. That was my end game. I've never loved a person more than I love him. So he kind of like goes on this mental break where he's looking for Jinta everywhere he's going. Like, he's not even grieving. He's not even willing to cry about like the entire situation.
and people are like, no, it's okay.
They're like, no, it's okay or whatever. And then it gets to a point where like now they're like, okay, we're gonna put you in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah.
Right. So
you're
they-
acting crazy.
You're acting crazy.
You also for the Shinta person.
That's exactly.
We don't know who that is.
Exactly.
Like, I know you're taking things really hard. You need to calm down. And he's like, no, y'all the fucking crazy one.
Exactly.
I can bring him back to life.
Bring him back to life.
I just
find
have to find,
Jinta.
and
So at some point they like try to trap him into like the hospital, and like he runs away. Like he makes a break for it, runs away. And while he's hiding in the hospital, like screaming like Jinta, 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 like he's like repeating it over and over again, like Jinta, Jinta. He like Jinta shows up and he's like, you called for me. Like, what did you want? He's like, I'm so tired.
I was resting.
Like, I was resting. Why did you call me? Right? And then he's like, no. Yes, finally you're here. I need your help. I need to bring him back. And Jinta is like, I can't do that for you. Leave me alone. And he's like, no, please, I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Just please bring him back. Give me one shot.
Yeah.
He's like, please, I'll take that one shot over anything. I can't live without this man. So Jinta was like, okay, fine. Deal is though that if you fail, then both of you are going to be gone.
Yeah.
Like, if you fail, then sorry to say, but
I can take you back in time to when he's still alive.
Exactly.
And fix the situation that he was originally supposed to fix.
Because
Like, there's a lot going on. It was like, so it's not just that he didn't have to save him, but there was also the girlfriend. I forget her name, man. Oh my God. Pen?
no, I think so.
Yeah.
Mai.
Oh, Mai. What the fuck?
It's Mai.
Mai's mom also like had to be saved because, like in Manner of Death, in Triage, there's this whole thing happening in the background. We love a plot.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing happening in the background where some people
There's
are harvesting
organ harvesting and trafficking.
Exactly. And like we said, this is not exactly a sequel to Man of Death, but they link.
It's in the same universe.
Like, you can see that there's nods to both sides of the thing. Because also in Manner of Death, there was some organ harvesting shit going on there too. Like, it wasn't just the sex trafficking. There was look back. But anyways, there's that happening in the background, and what Mai's mother, like, apparently the hospital that she was at, they were not actually treating her to get better. They were like making her worse so that she can die and they can harvest her organs and her heart in particular, and whatever, and get rid of that. So
because she was a match for somebody.
Exactly. So looping 10 in the beginning, like, the point is to save first of all, Tin himself will explain why he needed to be saved himself. We mentioned at the beginning that this man was a zombie. Like he was soulless, a soulless person. We have Thor here, who's this conceited, bratty little boy that is like, honestly, just mainly self-absorbed in his own life. He doesn't even know what's going on in his girlfriend's life. Mai, like, doesn't know shit about that. We have Mai and her mother. We have Mai's boyfriend, which we'll also touch on, her actual boyfriend. And then we have, that's many of them. Yeah.
I think those are the main.
Yeah, those are the main ones. So like this initial loop, it wasn't just like, oh, you saving this one boy. There's so many things involved. So now when Dole's the one who's now set back in time, he's the one who has to take on this job.
Yeah.
You may proceed.
They kind of Jinta does a thing where he gives like him a cheat code in a way, right? Because initially
the boyfriend wasn't figuring it out.
Exactly.
So
initially when he was when Don was sent back, right? Like before he got sent back, he was actually looking for the notebook that Dean was writing in, right? And all the notes disappeared. So he was like devastated. He was like, oh my God, like what am I going to do? But like Jinta kind of reunites him with the version of Don Dean. They wrote down the notes, right? And then he ends up handing him the notes and he's like, okay, these are the notes, right? These are like cheat codes. These are things that I figured out during my thing. So, but Don being the idiot that he is, he immediately does the same mistake that Dean initially did by going up to him and like outright just telling him.
Yeah.
And it's like, you stupid, like you have the cheat code.
They told you all the things you shouldn't do. This is all the things your boyfriend did that were wrong, and we wasted time on.
You had the cheat codes.
Skip all this and just get you the actual real plan.
Exactly.
No.
Like, why did you have the cheat code? Why did you do this? But this is where, I guess, in terms of plot, I understand why they did it this way, because this is where now we see the fact that the reason why Dean got trapped in this in the first place was because he was about to get offered the opportunity to be a part of this organ harvesting.
He was going to go down bad route.
Exactly. He was about to go down a route where he was going to kill so many different people who don't deserve it to organ harvest. But he got saved because
it happened. Because the loop didn't happen, right? So this is how this will work. So, for example, Jinta never showed up and whatever.
Yeah.
Dole died as he did, and Dean doesn't give two fucks because he's like, this person smells like alcohol. Because he has, so his sister passed away in a drunk driving accident where
she was killed by a guy who bumped her while she was going to visit him.
Yes, and that guy was drunk. That guy ended up surviving. The sister ended up dying, and he felt from that point that the world is unfair. Like, why the fuck did he survive? So he's been this soulless person this entire, ever since that happened. Like, he didn't breathe properly. He just started hating the world.
Yeah.
Especially people who like drink drive because you're such a selfish asshole. So that's what the head of the hospital used when convincing him. The people we harvest organs from are they're bad people. They killed other people. So like, it's like, I don't know, like it's just good for your soul.
Exactly.
You're just speaking shit.
But it's trying to manipulate him.
Exactly. So if this loop didn't happen, we see in this current loop, the one that Thor has to save that Din was very likely to actually take that opportunity. Yeah. Because he could not give two fucks about anyone.
Care.
He didn't care anymore. And he was like, yeah, I do agree. Those people do deserve to die. So yeah, that's why we're on.
So that's why he ends up like doing this whole loop thing. There's a whole bunch of other things that happened. But
Thor himself is also embarrassing.
He was
like so embarrassing, doing like secondhand embarrassment. It was bad. Like, he also was doing things where it was like, dude, come on. Like, at some point, At some point, like, he faked drowning, I suppose, but drowning because he's trying to recreate their scene when they were like kids.
Yeah.
Or when they were full kids and whatnot. He was like, okay, I'm gonna drown and he's gonna save me. He does save him, and then he pretends to be unconscious, so that didn't give him mouth to mouth.
I didn't just like get the fuck up.
You know, we're doctor, and I can see your chest moving up and down. I can tell you're breathing, and I'm fine. Like, and he just stays there, just like, and then he just walks away. And then he's like, now the G, we're not so bad. I don't know what I'd do with my life after that. Like,
I wouldn't move it.
I wouldn't hear it. I'll probably and it did lie there for a while before he was like, let me get out.
So that didn't work.
That didn't work. Yeah, I had no care for him at all. Like the thing that he's still soulless, that knows nothing about the loops,
Doesn't care.
does not give fucks. Joel is trying his best to like seduce him, do goofy stuff, get them to get close again. But you must remember that now Din is this person that recently lost his sister, and he's a grown man, like he's grown. And then there's this university student
Who's just trying to like get with him? Like, what the fuck? Randomly?
Yeah, get with him randomly, and he's like, kid, get the fuck away
Get the
from
fuck away from him. Like, go study.
Yeah,
Go
like-
do your homework.
Go to your homework, leave me alone. Like,
Exactly.
and like it was, God. Yeah. Point is that he finally was able to. Oh my God, even that thing at the hospital. Wait, there was a scene at the hospital where like, I'm not going to go. We're gonna talk about this drama for way too long. Point is that as we end Dole's loop in particular, that's where we found out most of this information about the organ harvesting, about the thing with Dole. God, there's a lot of shenanigans that actually happened. What was that goofy thing at the end?
Which one?
You know, at the end when they like, when the bad guy has been tied together in the boiler room.
Oh, where they were like, they almost killed.
Wait, oh my gosh, no way.
They almost died. Because remember also even Don's loop had like a time limit as well.
Yes, it did.
They almost died in the boiler room, but they didn't.
Yeah. I forgot about the side couple. That's what I wanted to mention.
But
they are non-factor for the most part in this. Like, they're loose. They
kind of get out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere, but for them it works in their favor because there's different loops, and it's like different loops are kind of alternate universes.
Yeah.
It's like because of this, because this changed in a loop, it changes their dynamic. Because a certain thing happened. There's times where they bickering and fighting. There are times where they're all lovey-dovey. It's all over the place. But in this time in particular, is this point where so the main cast, the main people know that there's this organ harvesting going on, and they're trying to gather evidence, right? And so oh my God, there's another doctor in the hospital who's corrupt. He's not a head doctor, but he's in the hospital.
He's working with him.
Yeah. He's corrupt. He finds out that they know, so he decides, okay, I'm gonna go to the guy's apartment. Because I'm gonna go to the guy's apartment, and then I'm going to I'm gonna tie him up. Because at the apartment, it wasn't just, oh my God, there's so many characters in Triage. I even forgot this other kid who, my God, gosh, no. I'm not going to
talk about everybody. No, it's fine. We can just cut it off here.
Okay. I'm not going to talk about other people. Fine. Anyways, the guy was in the apartment. He was locked, like whatever. He kidnapped him in the apartment. He locked him in. And so, by the way, this side couple, they're both doctors. They're both doctors that work in the hospital. So now he was meant to meet his boyfriend in the apartment. Like they were calling each other on the phone prior. And he was like, oh, I'm about to be home soon. I'm just picking up some stuff at the convenience store, you know. And then it's cheat or whatever. He walks into the apartment. He finds that the other doctor's there. He ties him up. It's a whole thing. Because this guy's a smart doctor, he decides, I'm going to actually call my boyfriend secretly. And I'm going to give him a hint that there's something going on here. So he calls his boyfriend and he begins to talk loudly, giving him hints of what's going on. He tells him that, oh, Doctor Who, whatever his name is, I'm not even gonna. Doctor Who, why are you holding me hostage? Do you really think you can kill me? He's giving the boyfriend all the clues in the world.
Tell me why he didn't show up with back stuff.
And then boyfriend, first of all, is listening the entire time, and he's like, what? He's trying to talk back to his boyfriend, and it's like, shut the fuck up. And then he's to be like he said, was not supposed to know that you know. And he's like, baby, what's happening? What? And I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then after that, the phone call ends, right? So the guy figures out that he actually did call the guy. Yeah. Makes him drop the phone. And I was thinking, okay, we in the clear, it's cool. Yeah. The boyfriend shows up at the door. Initially, he shows up alone. And I think this is I thought it was 4D chess.
Yeah.
I thought he was back up.
I have backup. There's somebody maybe who's hiding behind the door or something.
I brought somebody.
Exactly.
I told somebody else about this. I thought he was doing 4G. I was like, this is smart. You're gonna catch him off guard.
Yeah.
I think, okay.
He's alone and can take control of the situation, and then somebody's gonna run in later.
No, he was literally alone.
He was literally alone, did not call any backup. Motherfucker almost dies. Yeah, Oh, like, mind you, do you know what the funny thing was for me? Like, not even funny, because it's so funny.
Not
It's
funny,
just
haha.
stupid. It's not funny, how it's just funny, stupid. 2 men were overpowered by 1.
I don't understand. There were 3 guys. That's why I didn't want to mention that.
Oh, yeah, there was 3.
He was hooked up to the poison. Cause
Yeah.
I'm going to poison him. And he said I was going to make this look like a
triple suicide type situation.
What a love triangle thing where it's like, you killed him and then
you killed exactly, and then you killed yourself,
kind of a thing. And I was like so perplexed at why the boyfriend didn't come back up, because I was like, you heard the whole thing, you know what's going on in that apartment.
Phone.
Why did you walk yourself into the same situation? And then
That
you get
was
there and you're like,
this was giving.
he didn't even come in with the weapon. Like,
Exactly.
I didn't know how.
This was the plot point that felt like, yeah, no, this came from the same person that did Manner of Death.
This is where you got
Exactly.
No, this was dumb.
This was dumb. These are supposed to be smart characters. No, fuck no. They're doctors. It's supposed to be smart characters.
3 of the people in that room were doctors, and then the 1 university kid.
How did, noise? Anyway, Frankie. I'm tired of talking about it.
I did love Triage though. I did love Triage. I love the couple's chemistry. I love the story. I like the plot. For the it was only just those. And once again, those are the annoying things that they do where it's like, this was stupid. You didn't need to do this. Does it change the overall story? No.
Well, not
but
really, actually.
did we need to make that?
No.
We didn't need to. But it doesn't change the story. I love Triage. I think she's an underrated.
Triage. I think it's extremely underrated. I think Triage.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculously underrated. I don't understand why not more people are talking about it, because I do think it's incredible. Even in the way that it handles topics of not just interpersonal relationship, but corruption, how people become corrupt in the first place, because it wasn't people were corrupt out of the blue.
Yeah.
It's
it's motivation to it. Yeah.
There's a motivation there. And I flippin' loved how they handled all of that. So personally, I think the things that I would change are more personal annoyances. It's the same thing with Manner of Death.
It's the exact same thing.
It's what I would change is more of a personal annoyance than it is about
the overall
story, because I do think the way that the overall story was structured and the way that it was approached, it was done really well. And I would basically recommend it to basically anyone.
Me too.
Honestly.
BL or not, I would.
Whether you're a BL watcher or not, just as a story, it's incredible.
Yeah, and that's the only not to basically meet people.
Same.
Will this be on the same level as Man of Death, being
I think it's deserving.
superior? Yeah, no?
I think it's deserving of it.
I also agree.
Because if we're gonna put Manner of Death there, it has to be there on the same level. I don't think it's surpassed Manner of Death, but I also don't think it's below Manner of Death.
Agreed.
So next one is Not Me.
Okay.
With our favorite BL couple.
Done.
Icons.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Black and White are twins with a powerful connection. After their parents' separation, though, White's father took him aboard and their family effectively severed into 2. It isn't until 15 years later that White, now grown, returns to Thailand. One day, seemingly out of nowhere, White feels an agony like death. He recovers in the hospital, but they're unable to determine the cause. Then he picks up a call from a childhood friend, Todd. Todd tells him that Black is in a coma following a vicious attack, and he learns that Black is in a motorcycle gang. Unable to endure the harm done to his brother in silence and suspecting that it was one of Black's close friends, Sean, Gran, or Yoke, I don't know, who betrayed him, White disguises himself as Black to root out the traitor. But White doesn't know his brother as well as he thought. He's not behaving like Black Sean knows. Was that his name? He's not behaving like Black. Oh, he's not behaving like the Black Sean knows. Distrustful and uncaring about the feelings of others. Sean's suspicious. Sean is suspicious. The differences get under Sean's skin and makes him feel things he shouldn't. Okay, so very pop-based drama. Essentially, it is these 2 twins, White and Black, both played by the amazing actor that is Gunn.
Where is this Oscar?
He was playing White and Black at the same time. These are 2 twins who are as Black and White is opposite. They are opposite themselves. They have this connection, like I said, from childhood, where they essentially feel each other's pain. both physical and emotional.
Not just pain, but like also any strong emotions that one has, it affects the other one.
Yeah.
Always. So it's like, it's seen later on, but like even with like White's strong love for Sean, it ends up affecting Black at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, continue.
So anyway, so like we said, Sean gets a call from a childhood friend and he's like, listen, this happened to Black. He got hurt and I'm suspecting that it might be one of his friends who he's part of this motorcycle gang with. And White is like, this is my brother. I love and care for him. I haven't seen him in years, but I have to get to the bottom of it because he's also affected. I mean, like like when Black went into the coma, White was also heavily affected. Like, he felt it. Like he actually got sick and was hospitalized as well. And nobody could tell what the fuck is going on. But he knows that it's because my brother is in a coma. So he comes back into town and the plan is like, okay, I'm going to pretend to be Black. We're identical twins. All I have to change is like my hairstyle a little, the way I dress, and like
get his tattoos.
This man was committed. He got Black tattoos. He didn't get literally henna. He got the actual tattoos, like a copy of it. I was like, my dude, okay, bro, or are you like you being serious about this? And then he tried his best based on what Todd was telling him to learn Black's personality, to be like, okay, I'm going to be like Black. Okay, cool. I've learned these are his friends, blah, blah, blah. Time to execute. Meet up with Black's friends. From the jump, I think one of Black's friends were like, why are you acting weird?
They were a bit suspicious because Black in himself is not necessarily a friendly character by nature, right?
He's barely their friend.
He's barely their friend. He's in the gang, but he's not friends with these people. He's in the gang solely on like a morality basis rather than he is in there for a brotherhood basis.
Yeah, they just have a common goal.
They just have a common goal and that's about it for him.
Yeah, but he gives two fucks about these people. So when White, who's the opposite of Black, is more like, he in his mind, oh, these are Black's friends.
Black's friends.
So I'm going to be friendly. They are immediately like,
why?
Weird? Yeah, like, this is so bizarre. Like, okay, he's feeling weird because prior to this, they went on a mission, and on that mission, like, I forget what happened, but something happened, and they're like, oh, maybe that's why Black is acting weird. Quotation marks around Black. Black is actually white, but like, and I say Black, I mean white. The real Black is in a coma. Remember that. Anyway, so they're like, okay, why is Black acting weird? It might be because of what happened on our last mission. Whatever, he'll recover. No stress. Because like, yeah, he's completely different. Even when they're going on these missions. So the first mission that they go on, White does not really understand exactly what it is that they do. He knows that they're in a gang together, but he's like, I don't understand. Like, we're going on a mission, and nobody was explaining to him. First of all, when he asked what mission, they were like, stop acting stupid.
Exactly. Because they're also working under the assumption that he knows what the fuck is going on, right?
Exactly.
Because he was there for the planning.
He made the plan, because they were like, this is your
plan. Like, what do you mean?
Like some kind of test, like that we don't know the plan.
Exactly.
And like White obviously was like, yeah, it's a test. Like, exactly. What's the plan?
What's the plan?
And then like they give him like a very like vague, yeah, they're like, this dude, and he's like, okay, whatever. But when they get to the location and they start talking about, okay, we're gonna vandalize this, we're gonna burn down this, we're gonna do this, it's like, oh no, I'm not doing illegal shit.
Exactly.
Wait, hold on. This is what we're doing. Like, I know I got tattoos and shit, but I don't want to break the law.
Exactly.
Hold on. And like when he's hesitant to do these things, they look at him like,
what's wrong with you? Like, we've been doing this for years now.
This is specifically your plan. This is one of the easier things that we've done. Like, what's wrong with you? And they still work on the assumption that, okay, whatever happened on the previous mission really messed him up that much that he's off the rails right now. Obviously, they're not going to suspect that it's not Black
because it looks like him. He has his tattoos,
and they don't know that he has a twin brother. Yeah, so there's no reason for them to be like,
that's not him.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, he's acting weird. So there's a leader in the gang. There's this leader guy who owns a garage where they stay at, and then there's members of the gang. But the two most prominent members in the gang is Sean and Black, right? Sean played by Off, and Off and Sean and Black despise each other. It's hate. hate each other. We do not fucking like each other. And no point was there ever camaraderie between us.
If one says white, one says black. If one says up, one says down.
We don't like each other.
Yeah.
We're literally just doing this because common goal. But I don't want to be anywhere near you. So white obviously is now stepping into a situation where he's being hated by Sean, but he doesn't really understand.
He doesn't understand
what's the background here. And he's not giving the same hatred back. And Sean is fucking confused.
And he's picking up on it because he's like, okay, you normally would have punched me by now.
But
the fuck is going on?
Like you wouldn't have asked for my opinion. You would have punched me. You wouldn't actually even be talking to me. Like at some point, like during a mission, like Sean is stuck or foul or something happened. And then White, who's pretending to be black, goes back to save him. And save him. And Sean from that point is like, that's the first time where Sean is, okay, like I said, they've been sussing him all along. But that's the first time where Sean is convinced that something is thoroughly wrong with you because black would have left me to die.
He's left me before.
So, he's done it before. Why did you turn back and say
exactly what changed in you for you to turn back and try to save me? So it becomes a whole thing with him sussing him out. Eventually he catches feelings. I want to kind of speed run through the relationship because I'm like, I want to try to get to like the subject matter that the BL itself handled. So he saves him. Eventually they get closer as they're doing these missions. They go on a hideout thing where they're trying to stake out this one factory. That's where they end up having their first kiss on a rooftop. It's all cute and shit. They end up going back to the tent, and that's when they end up sleeping together for the first time. It's and like Sean, like not Sean, White enjoys the experience so much that
Black wakes up from
his coma.
At the same time, White is
getting off. So he enjoyed it so much that like it literally woke his brother up.
Because like we said, they feel
they have telepathic emotions essentially, right? They feel what the other one's feeling.
Yeah, and at this point, like White was getting it.
He was getting it so good that his brother woke up.
Yeah, he was like, I'm completely healed.
Exactly. He already woke up with like a tear in his eye. Like, I was like, oh my god, it's that good. Okay. Anyway, we're out from that. So they're now a couple at this point. They're still doing missions. He still hasn't told him that he is not black. So Black woke up, ran away from the hospital essentially. After he wakes up, they have a brotherly reunion. Black essentially tells White to fuck off. This is not your world. Because they've always had a dynamic of Sunshine and Sunshine Protector, right? Where Black is always consistently trying to protect White. So he's still approaching him with the same attitude of like, get the fuck out. If I'm in danger, it's not your danger to have, right? So he's like, no, get the fuck out. Stay away from my friends. Stay away from the gang. I don't want you in this life, essentially. Goes and basically fucks up Sean and White's relationship because he torpedoes it because he ends up like punching Sean and he's like, oh, I don't want you anymore, right? Like looks him straight in the eyes, says, I don't want you. And Sean is like begging him. He's like, don't do this. He's like, please don't do this. You're the only one that I want. Keep in mind at this point, like Sean has opened up about his abandonment issues and issues, like some serious ass shit, right?
Fallen deep in love.
Exactly.
In love with White.
Absolutely in love with him.
And he's like, White loves me too. Like we're together.
Exactly.
Only to have Black be like,
I don't fucking love you. Like I was using you the whole time. He was saying such brutal things and Sean was just begging him. And he would say these things while hitting Sean, right? Like punching him, right?
And Sean wasn't
fighting back. And like Black was screaming at him like, fight me back. And he just wouldn't. And that was kind of Black's first indication of, okay, maybe he really is in love with my brother, right? But he still is like, nah, you're not good enough for my brother. So he's still like, nah, fuck that. So he kind of opted torpedoing the relationship. The only thing, I'm going to skip a bunch of things that happened between because we're going to discuss it when we're discussing the plot, but, or on the parts of the plot, but when White does this thing where he like jumps into the ocean just so he can like feel something for a while because he's absolutely really heartbroken, right? So he jumps into the ocean, almost drowns, and then like, Black goes and finds him and she's like, okay, if you did this, that means you really want to talk to me. Like, the fuck is going on with you? So goes back to his brother and he's like, do you really love him that much? And he's like, yeah, no, I fucking do, my guy. He's like, you can see what I think. You should know.
You know more than anyone how much I
exactly.
I don't have to tell you.
I don't have to tell you. If anybody knows, it's you. And then Black is just like, you know what? Do what you want. He's like, I still don't approve because I don't like, no ways, I'm never going to, whatever. But they have a little brotherly moment where even White starts understanding where Black is coming from as well. Because now they're having the reunion that White always fantasized about, basically. So he never actually goes back to Sean, but Sean ends up finding him, and then it ends up being this whole thing where you think, because the minute they make eye contact, like White makes a run for it.
Yeah.
Like runs, Sean chases him, and then like they end up together. Yeah, that's the entire relationship.
Yeah, I love is that when Sean, like now when, Sean obviously chases after White, he's like, all right, tell me what the fuck is
Tell me what's going on.
He immediately notices like there's a difference here.
In the way that you look at me and even in your eyes, there's a difference.
There's a difference. You're not like the same person that was punching me the front and saying, like, what the fuck is going on?
Like, explain to me what's going on.
And then it's like White breaking down, but like, okay, I'm not. I'm White. And Sean's
like, I knew. He's like, I knew you were there somewhere.
Yeah,
I knew the love of my life was still there.
And so they get together, cool.
They get together, it's cute or whatever. So, okay, now I want to just get into like the subject matter of the actual like what was going on. One thing. Okay, so this plot, it handles different types of topics. It's a very complex plot. I personally think, I will say this like preliminarily, this is the best drama to come out of GMM TV ever.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, it's the best thing to come out of GMM TV ever. Argue with your ancestors.
Yeah.
I don't even, it's not
some
for discussion.
People have their own GMM TV drama, but
it's not beating Not Me. Never.
I don't care what you say. And I don't know which ones people are going to say.
Exactly. But I also know. It's a no. It's this one. Like, if you want to tell me that there are dramas that are better than this, I'm going to severely disagree with you. Mainly because of the fact that I feel like a lot of people, when they talk about, but this drama is the best, they're looking mainly at the chemistry between the actors and which actors are their favorite, right?
Yes, whose answers are the favorite?
Exactly. Yeah. Because if we're going to go off of chemistry of the two main couple, right? Often done, never fucking fail. Wrong. The only time I can be like, and the chemistry was a bit off. It was in the first drama that they did, Puppy Honey.
Yeah. That was better, and it was their first.
It was their first one.
Yeah.
In defense of them, it was their first one. Yeah. The chemistry wasn't exactly popping yet, but thereafter, every single drama that they starred in particular, whether with the starring, maybe this is alluding to what we're going to talk about in the future, but like these two's chemistry never fucking fails. I do not care what they say, right?
There's nothing you can fault them in. The chemistry is amazing. First of all, they're amazing actors. Fucking amazing actors.
Exactly.
I would go as far as to say they're GMM
based actors. Literally, in terms of technicality,
they're the best.
Technicality, delivering emotions, skill, pacing, knowing how to talk, knowing how to be present in the character. There's never a character where these two played where they didn't sell me the character.
Yeah, it was both the whole,
There was never one. Both of them.
Yeah.
There was never a character where they played it and I wasn't sold that this is who they are, right? First of all.
And they did push that in its characters. Like, I mean, Not Me is so different to the drama they did.
Exactly.
They should look at, like, I was like, how are they going to do something?
How are they going to do something? And I'm like, hold on. Impressed. I was literally by the end, I was crying, being like, where the fuck is Guns? Where is the Oscar?
I don't understand.
Where is the Oscar?
This man was putting off two separate personalities simultaneously. He was white and black.
And he was selling it.
White and black, and then he was white pretending to be black. And it's still different people. And hold on.
What good of an actor are you, my guy? Who's your coach?
Like, he's just, I think he's just naturally talented.
He's just so talented. On top of that, right? Okay, one, chemistry, off the charts, like we said. Plot-wise, in terms of like what they handled and what they brought forward, I was honestly scared because Not Me is presenting such a complex issue, right? In terms of like structural, the way that society is structured, how people are corrupt, how when corruption happens, there's a lot of moving parts. It's never necessarily a black and white situation, right? It's never just, this one's bad, this one's good. It's always like, no. there are people in between that structure. There are a lot of gray areas.
Also, there's no one fixed solution, because in this whole
exactly
the whole point of this gang and this plot is that they're trying to dismantle the system or whatever.
They're trying to dismantle one particular person.
And they were learning along the way. Sorry, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
They were learning along the way that even though we are destroying, so we're trying to destroy this one person, it doesn't mean that the entire flawed system that has been
there's a huge system, and
he's way bigger than it. Even if we take him down, somebody else is just gonna come in place.
There's literally somebody who's waiting to take his place.
Yeah, literally. Somebody who's just patiently. He's like, no, I'll let you guys destroy him,
so I can take his place. And he's even justifying it by saying, "Oh, but I'm not as bad as he is."
Yeah.
There's always gonna be another one. Why not let that person be me? Like, it's presenting such a complex issue.
There's so many things. Even like talking about privilege, because right off the jump when he gets to Thailand, when he gets to Thailand, he is forced to recognize his privilege. So when he gets there, first of all, his dad arranged for him to get an interview at a certain company. And there's obviously other students that are there for this interview.
Some of them arguably even more deserving than he was.
Yeah.
And already, like, the people that are there are like, no, we're going to set this aside for you. We already planned it for you.
Yeah, because your dad already spoke to us.
Exactly. And prior to that, he was talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Who was like, oh, I'm so worried because there's a lot of these privileged kids who come into the spaces and we're kind of just coming, like, to help them along getting into this place. So,
like, we're playing on an uneven field here.
Exactly.
Like, literally, like, I would argue that I'm either equal or better than these kids, but I will not get in because of the fact that they have like
connections.
Like, they have connections, and that really sucks. Like, it really pisses me off. I'm not going to stop trying. I'm fighting for that. And White, for the first time, thinks to himself, because White recognizes this in the interview, because he agrees with the guy. Cool. Then in the interview, when he meets these people and they say to him, like, oh, White, like, we know your dad, like, oh, it's so cool, like, we can just, just chat. Versus like a genuine interview, like the other guy was going to get. In that moment, he's like, wait, I am that person. And I get, and like, oh, how, like, okay.
Because prior to this, he was even arguing about, oh, how do you know that these kids don't actually deserve it?
Exactly.
Right? Until he's actually confronted with it. And he's like, oh, shit. He was right.
Yeah, because
some of us don't deserve it.
Talking to, like, because in an interview, there's certain questions they should be asking me, but they're asking me, like, how was America?
Yeah.
Why do you enjoy doing this? And it's not the same. You're not asking for my
You're not asking about my actual critical thinking skills.
Yeah, like, you're not going for my intellect. You're just asking me about, like, my personality. Like, oh, why do you want to do this? Why do you like this?
Basically, like, you're already getting the position. We're just trying to get to know you now.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, yeah, I see what's going on. So, yeah, and then how we have Black on his side. So the parents are powerful people. The dad, completely not sure what exactly his occupation is, but he was part of the UN, I think, like the United Nations, where he was like doing a lot of diplomacy or whatever. Because the whole thing about White coming in, he was supposed to be a part of the diplomacy type thing. So I think he was following in his dad's footsteps. And then the mom is a judge. Yeah, the mom is a judge, and we're Black. So, like we said, there's a lot of injustices that are happening because of like people in power get to get away with everything. It's like, if you have money, you will, like, you just get away with things. And Black hated that his mom, who's a lawyer, who's supposed to stand for justice, has let so many bad people
just get away with
it. Yeah, so that's where his resentment comes from. Starts from. He's also, like with White, seeing his privilege, he also recognized his privilege to his mom. He's like, oh man, what the fuck? Like, look at us in this position where we can help people, but not
we're doing anything.
So then he goes on vengeance. And he's like, okay, I'm going to meet these people who I don't even fucking like. I don't really like anyone, but I'm banding with them so we can
take down the government.
Yeah, take down the government, take down these shitty people. But like, as the story progresses, and even at the end, we like this part, is like we said before, it is that just because you're taking down this one person or you're attacking this
does not mean that there's not a larger issue at play.
You're not dismantling the fucked up system.
Yeah.
All you're doing is taking that one jab at, which is not a bad thing. It's like a starting point.
You're doing something, sure. You're putting a dent in it.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily destroying the entire system in place. There's like a much larger system.
It's like this big battle going on in what is that expression of like the one battle but not the war? The battle that they did one. So the owner of this one particular company, he's messed up in various ways, but the thing that they kept emphasizing is that he's very discriminatory towards people in the LGBTQ plus community, people with disabilities, all the people like his workforce is very particular, and it's very clear. And he's one of the big companies in Thailand right now. And like, it's like you who's hiring people if you're not going to actually hire disabled people who actually need it the most. Or when you do hire them, they treated less than. Like they othered. And it's things like that. So at least with taking him down, they were able to win that battle. It was like, okay, now we can at least help these people. Like the system is so fucked up. There's still so many moving parts that like we actually don't even get to see. Like this like invisible force, like this looming invisible cloud that even by the end you just have to accept it. Yeah. The system at its core is fucked up. They've taken this person down successfully. It's a temporary celebration, but there's so much more going on that hasn't been touched on. But so it's like I don't know, I just like that element because it's not like completely a happy ending, but like there's hope. It's not something where we're going to end on a bleak note, but it's also not like a delulu note where the world is fixed now, everyone is accepting of everyone, like the rich are not that powerful anymore. No, the rich are still powerful. People are still discriminatory. These are facts that remain. But there is a hopeful note to it. There are still people who are willing to help. There's still people who are willing to fight. Their actions start a bit of a resistance movement because by the end, it's even mentioned through like a news broadcaster thing that like people are now starting to use their hashtags. People are seeing them as martyrs. Like, not me is the hashtag. But I think it's not me, not you, but everyone. But it's like people are starting to use their hashtags. They're starting a movement that's picking up by the end. So it's this hopeful note of, okay, now they're starting to become change in this country. Now they're starting to people becoming more awake to what's happening. And if more people are awake, then less opportunities there will be for people who are rich to exploit the system in the way that they have been. So it's just, I don't know, it's incredible the way that they handled it. Even the reveal of the fact that the cop guy, I forgot his name, but he's the one who killed Sean's dad, because the whole thing with Sean's motivation was that what's his name? Dan. Yeah. He was Dan who was like Daniel, who was responsible for Sean's dad death, right? And us finding out that it wasn't this great grandiose thing that Sean thought it was, because Sean thought that no, it was the mafia. Dad, he was doing something, but he was doing some investigation. My dad was, and it was just it was just an incompetent cop who acted impulsively, and it ended up in the death of somebody, which goes back to the thing I was mentioning before. There's a lot of moving parts. It's never just black or white. It's not just one or the other. There's even with taking down the guy and the United, so when they were formulating their plans to take down the guy or whatever, Sean was hell bent on like, no, we're gonna take him down, we're gonna destroy his crowds, all that stuff. But White was like, no, but there's still people's jobs on the line. Still, we need to take them into consideration. Like, you can't just, by destroying him, you need to recognize that other people will be affected. It's not just him. Even actually, he might still be fine at the end of it because he's got money. Exactly. But the people who will mostly be affected is the employees, the consumers. They're the people who will be affected because you're poisoning their food. How do we account for that? Like, exactly. Like, yes, it's cool to have all these vigilante plans of like, oh, okay, we're gonna do this and that. That actually kind of reminded me of that. You know that because there's this whole thing going on these people who are protesting, like, I think it's the food industry or something, where right now they're like throwing soup and paintings, right? They are turning people against them. Yeah. Because right now people are like, okay, fine, you're protesting what you're protesting. But in the act of you destroying art in the middle of that, how stupid can you be? People are not going to be on your side when you do stuff like that, right? It's the thing that White kept saying is that you need to just win at the end of this, because people are just going to think of you as
criminals.
That's what we want to be at the end of the day.
Like, we need to think about the ways that we're going about this to get people on our side in the first place. So we need to be smart about how we're doing things. We can't just like poison the food that he has. Instead, let's make it about how his factory is dangerous and it's rusted everywhere.
Exactly.
Let's
how the employee
exactly
poorly.
Exactly.
Like, there are many ways we can go about exposing this man and taking him down without
necessarily
so many other people.
Exactly. That being said, also there's also the side couple, which is the cop guy. But yeah, I don't necessarily want to get into that. I think honestly, I just want to say this in defense of him because I saw somebody who was like, "Oh, he's the evil guy. He's the true evil guy of the story." No, the reason why he isn't the evil guy, or rather, I don't consider him the evil guy of the story. He's meant to represent a symptom of a system, right? See, if I was younger, I feel like if I was younger, I would have viewed his character in a very black or white manner. I would have been like, no, he's evil. He killed Sean's dad. He couldn't even stand up for them when they were getting arrested. Like when he was handcuffing the guy he ends up with in the couple with. I forgot his name as well. Because when he was crying and begging him, he was like, no, please don't do this. Please don't do this. But that was really heartbreaking. But yeah,
everyone was an amazing actor.
Yeah. So I think a lot of people view his actions through the lens of, oh, but he could have chosen something different. But his representation in this entire thing is something that's very real to the human experience, which is that when a revolution is happening, when people are taking action, right? Some people have vested interest that they're not willing to lose yet, right? So whereas Sean has his personal life, which he's willing to fuck that up in order to change the system. Whereas even the guy that he ends up with, like the cop guy, he ends up with the artist guy. What's his name? York, right? York, even though he has his mom who he's taking care of, he is willing to fuck his entire life up, right?
For this cause.
He, however, Dan is not in the position where he's ready to do that. That happens, and that is okay.
Yeah,
you just need to.
Exactly. Your family is like being threatened. They're like, well, if you do this,
exactly, because he got a dynamic.
They should expect that everyone is going to be like, okay, I just want to save the world.
Exactly.
No, like, some people are like,
some people that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
Because for him, he was placed in a position where they were like, no. If you do this, right? If you're part of this resistance, I know where your grandmother lives. She's not going to see the next day. Try it. I dare you. Try it. That's what he got a direct threat. So for people to be acting as if, no, he's just a bad character. No, he's not. No, he's not. He's just a symptom of the situation that they're going through. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
That being said,
I mean, that's it and that. That's super superior in my opinion.
No, I'm with you because I think it's just so perfect. It is perfect.
But even if there was a thing that I would change, which I can't think of right now from the top of my head, I just enjoyed the drama thoroughly. It would not change how amazing the story is. It would not change the
it's not changing.
I don't know. It's like a very, I don't know if it was a passion project for everyone, but everyone was so committed to those fucking roles. Everyone was, I thought it was amazing. Like,
I thought it was incredible too, because I don't think, honestly, right, even the things where I'm like, okay, this bothered me a little bit. It's like, it ends up being explained in the drama itself, right? Because even like when White temporarily, quote unquote, betrays Sean during that whole mission where he was supposed to pour the sour stuff inside the thing and they ended up revealing the rust. I was like, why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it? And then he explained himself and it's like, oh, yeah, I get it. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like these little things, these attention to detail that I feel like everything was necessary to play out the way that it did in order for the story to be what it was. So I wouldn't change a thing, personally. So, super superior. It is. And what do we have next? We have the meat and the bones. This scared me because it has also like a really strong
strong fan base. Oh my god. Alright, I'll just start us off here. The second son of a mafia boss, Kinn, I'm gonna read his last names, is fleeing from an enemy when he meets Porsche, an enterprising young bartender. Porsche agrees to help Kinn from his attacker for a price. Porsche's martial skills impresses everyone, and are spurred on by his father. Kinn seeks to hire Porsche as one of his personal bodyguards. I don't know why I'm reading this as if there's no commas and full stops.
I don't know either.
Very poor. I don't know, these commas and full stops, but I'm reading in a weird way. Anyway, and Porsche's opposed and rejects Kinn's offer despite his attempt intimidation. It isn't until Porsche's family's home and ability to care for his brother are threatened, and he apprehends and moves on to the Mafia family property. It's their last name, but I'm not going to say it. It's too hard to pronounce. It's not a smooth transition into the unorthodox violent job, and his relationship with Kinn is strained and painful. I'm speaking better with when it's big words in here. Anyway, when his feelings for Kinn takes an unexpected turn, his work becomes even more high stakes.
Nice.
So Porsche has like a big large fan base.
It does.
And in particular, okay, you know what? Let's just jump in. Let's not try and fluff it. I say we go character for character.
Character for
character.
Once. Okay, great.
Who do you want to start with?
I want to start with main KinnPorsche. Right.
Oh, I thought you said Ming, and I was
main.
This is very niche. I on the podcast. Main, same.
I want to start with the main couple.
Okay.
Kinn and Porsche. Actually, do you want to cut this episode into 2 episodes?
What? Yeah, let's. What is it? Okay.
Do you want to cut it into 2 episodes?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I know we just read the whole premise. I guess this is to keep you hooked. Come back next week. Come back next
When
week.
we talk about
KinnPorsche
and the remainder of the action events.
Yeah, because I think the one that we're probably going to talk about the most in the next episode is probably KinnPorsche. It's probably going to take the most time. So, I'm sorry I'll have to cut it short. But love you. Thank you for tuning in. I guess you can follow us on TikTok. We're also on Twitter, even though it's a safe kingship currently, apparently. I don't even know. That's a whole different pop culture things. Anyway, bye.